and welcome back to How to Dormammu. This is the second episode of my series of video tutorials for Dormammu in Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom 3. My name is Tango, and in today's episode we'll discuss Dormammu's normals, his specials, and his hyper combos. Let's get started. Dormammu's normals put him firmly on the slower side of the cast, with his fastest button besides his snapback coming out in just 6 frames. His crouch and jump lights each come out in 7 frames, placing him among the big body characters like Thor or She-Hulk in terms of absolute speed. Dormammu's stand light comes out in 6 frames, meaning it ties with fast moves like Taskmaster's Charging Star or Impact Palm, and loses to most of the cast's stand light or crouch light attacks. Furthermore, stand light can whiff on crouchers, or very small characters like Rocket Raccoon, and its disjointed hitbox means the number of characters it can whiff on is surprisingly large. Be very careful with Dormammu's stand light, or air light in the corner, or when extremely close to the opponent, as they can and will whiff when you least expect it. All this means that stand light sees some limited use in combos, but that's about it. In most situations, crouch light is superior, not least because it hits low. Crouch light can be chained directly into Flame Carpet on block, for a safe block string that can be repeated indefinitely. Although slowish and not rapid fire, crouch light is still an incredibly useful normal in combos and in neutral. All 3 of Dormammu's medium attacks are incredibly strong, especially compared to his somewhat lackluster lights. His stand medium comes out in just 8 frames, just 1 frame slower than his crouch light, tying with the stand light or crouch light of some slower characters like Dante. It has great range and steps him slightly backwards, making it a great space control tool, though like his stand light, it has the problem of whiffing on crouchers and pixies, and this means you will omit it from combos except when juggling an airborne opponent, like off a Flame Carpet X-Factor cancel. Crouch medium is just barely slower at 9 frames of startup. Like standing medium, crouch medium whiffs on pixies and some crouchers, and as such is usually omitted from chains, which usually proceed directly from crouch light to crouch heavy. Crouch medium does not hit low, and as such it's mostly useful as a situational anti-air attack, a purpose which crouch heavy can serve as well, though it must be said that crouch heavy will sometimes, if you're not careful, yield an accidental Flame Carpet, a problem with crouch medium does not have. All of Dormammu's medium attacks, whether standing, crouching, or airborne, have projectile nullification properties, meaning you can swipe opposing projectiles right out of the air and leave you unscathed afterward. There are few feelings so satisfying as doing this and punishing with a chaotic flame. His air medium has 10 frames of startup, making it the slowest of the 3, barely. However, it's still incredibly useful for its projectile nullification, as a combo filler, and as a situational overhead, like when falling down after a teleport. Dormammu's heavy attacks are exemplary, despite their slow startup. His stand heavy has 13 frames of startup, and forms a meaty upward swipe attack which knocks the opponent into the air and nullifies projectiles along its entire length. Crouch heavy has near identical frame data to stand heavy, but also serves as a strong anti-air in addition to carrying the same projectile nullification. Stand heavy sees some limited use in combos, especially when chained into dark matter, but crouch heavy will be the more common link in combos most of the time, especially off crouch light. Note how easy it is to accidentally get a Flame Carpet out here. That's why you always want to output down back when outputting crouch heavy. Dormammu's air heavy, which together with its air S are known as the fishhooks, is one of his defining buttons. It travels almost 270 degrees, nullifying projectiles along its entire length and setting up for awesome left-right mix-ups off his triangle dash. H is significantly faster than S though, with 10 frames of startup to S's 14. Use S if you need the opponent to be juggled a bit lower, and use H if you need to juggle them a bit higher. Dormammu's ground S is relatively fast, with just 9 frames of startup, and nullifies any projectile that makes contact with the flames. As such, you may be tempted to use it for this purpose or as an anti-air given its large hitbox. Resist this temptation. With 20 active frames and 12 frames of recovery, it's incredibly punishable, and some characters can even punish you with a stand heavy or launcher of their own. Crouch medium or crouch heavy are both superior for this purpose, not least because both can be cancelled into Flame Carpet on block for a safe block string. S cannot be cancelled into anything except for Liberation or other spells. Dormammu's Air S, by contrast, is an incredibly useful move. As discussed a moment ago, it's one of his defining buttons and can be used in a variety of situations, such as off a super jump triangle dash, or in combos, or off of a flight cancel. Like H, it nullifies projectiles along its entire length. Don't sleep on the fish hooks, but don't forget about their long recovery either. Dormammu has two command normals, Dark Matter and Flame Carpet. Each is integral to his overall strategy of space control. Dark Matter, performed with forward and heavy, is a full-screen projectile with a wall bounce and fixed hit stun. It's a core part of Dormammu's mix-ups and combos, with Dark Matter into Dark Matter into Dark Hole being a common high hit stun extension into Chaotic Flame or even Stalking Flare. In mix-ups, it can serve to cover Dormammu's teleport, and the threat of a teleport can sometimes make raw Dark Matter hit on its own. Be careful with Dark Matter, as it has only 1 point of projectile durability, meaning it can and will lose to all opposing projectiles with which it makes contact, and in many cases it'll leave the opposing projectile completely unscathed. However, unlike many of Dormammu's projectiles, Dark Matter does not go away if he gets hit, meaning that if you do manage to get it out if someone's charging in on you, you'll often win the resulting trade if you can convert off the wall bounce with a Dark Hole or Chaotic Flame. Though a bit slow on startup at 20 frames, and with 26 frames of recovery making it extremely punishable on whiff, Dark Matter is just -3 on block, making it as safe as a Sting Master from Taskmaster, and an excellent way to end your block strings. Flame Carpet, performed with down forward heavy, is probably Dormammu's single defining move. It's a low-hitting, stationary, lingering projectile which hits OTG, is positive on block, and can set up for unblockables with either Dormammu or a teammate. What's not to love? Flame Carpet is Dormammu's primary vehicle for OTGs and extensions, though at the end of combos you usually prefer to go straight into Purification. However, he can't follow up on Flame Carpet easily on his own without either an assist or X Factor. Additionally, Flame Carpet can sometimes be very fickle in its requirements for placement to get a good juggle, requiring Dormammu to perform a micro walk forward or backward after landing to get optimal positioning. All that being said, it's still a reliable option in combos, and extremely useful in neutral. Unless it makes contact with the opponent, or Dormammu is hit by an attack or forced to tech a throw, Flame Carpet will linger for 180 frames, making it one of the longest lasting projectiles in the game. This is ample time to set up for a teleport mix-up, to dash backward and collect spells, or to call an assist and regroup. You can even raw tag another character, and use them for an unblockable setup. Flame Carpet lasts so long, it even allows Dormammu, in certain character-specific situations, to loop 2 Chaotic Flame Hypers one after another. Flame Carpet's not subject to hit stun deterioration, so it's excellent for late combo extensions using lateral coverage assists like Plasma Beam, or other media assists like Jam Session, especially if then linked with another fixed hit stun attack like Dark Matter. At +4 on block, Dormammu's left at significant advantage if he forces an opponent to block a Flame Carpet on the ground. This allows him to set up annoying long-lasting chains, like Crouch Slide into Flame Carpet, into Crouch Slide into Flame Carpet. Filipino Champ was the master of this kind of annoying, ticky-tack use of Flame Carpet, and its value can't be overstated. Look how much meter I'm building just from this annoying block string. However, it should be noted that there's a cooldown on Flame Carpet, and another one cannot be placed while one is active on the screen, and for a significant amount of time afterward. That is, unless you know about the multi-Flame Carpet glitch, wherein Dormammu can place multiple Flame Carpets if one is cancelled out of a blocked normal. This is what allows the 2L into 3H block string, and what makes it so powerful. It's literally exploiting a glitch. One time not to use Flame Carpet is when the opponent is jumping at you, as they'll likely jump right over it and hit Dormammu. Unlike Dark Matter, but like most of his projectiles, Flame Carpet will go away if Dormammu takes a hit or is forced to tech a throw. Plan accordingly. Alright, we're done with Dormammu's normals. Now we're going to move on to his specials. Dark Hole is Dormammu's most iconic special move, as well as being one of the most powerful projectiles in the game. Dark Hole has 3 variants, with Light appearing a short distance in front of Dormammu, Medium appearing a fair distance away, and Heavy appearing at full screen. But the properties of the various button strengths do not differ, only their spacing. It's a bit slow, with 26 frames of startup, meaning you don't want to mash it as a get off me if the opponent is in your face. However, when used sparingly and with proper setup, it can be a powerful tool in neutral, in addition to its various uses in combos. Dark Hole recovers into 6 frames and is +7 on block, making it safe if you force the opponent to block it. However, it is incredibly punishable on whiff, making its use in neutral a risky proposition. Like all of Dormammu's special moves, if he performs Dark Hole in the air, he will not recover until he hits the ground, unless he's flying, in which case normal recovery data applies, and this mechanic is what allows him to use it in certain advanced air combo routes and in his TAC Infinite. Tiger Knee Dark Hole on incoming can force the opponent to eat a slow-moving, lingering assist like Spitfire or Molecular Shield, combined with a teleport, a Dark Matter, or some combination thereof. And finally, it should be noted that Dark Hole has some of the highest durability of any projectile in the game, at 30 points total. This makes it able to eat multiple Soul Fists or similarly strong projectiles like Arthur-empowered daggers if you time it perfectly. All in all, Dark Hole is an unconventional, but extremely powerful stationary projectile and a defining part of Dormammu's kit. Purification, aka the Pillar, is Dormammu's other command projectile. Like Dark Hole, it's a stationary projectile with 3 identical varieties that differ only in positioning. Like Dark Hole, Light Purification spawns next to Dormammu, Medium Purification spawns some distance away, and Heavy Purification spawns just short of full screen. Purification is slow on startup, taking 32 frames to become active, but it lasts a very long time, 23 frames, compared to just 11 frames of recovery. This makes it very plus on block, but like Dark Hole, extremely punishable on whiff. Purification can OTG, and spins the opponent high up into the air on hit, positioning them perfectly to eat a Stalking Flare, or another Purification. However, if used for its OTG capabilities, Purification is also a common combo ender and cancelled into Chaotic Flame. Be careful when performing this cancel that you don't cancel too early, as a Kara cancelled Pillar won't come out at all, leading you to whiff and likely lose your Dormammu for the trouble. If you're too late, the opponent will spin out disastrously and take no damage at all from your Hyper. Purification has 15 total points of durability, meaning a Pillar can potentially eat 3 full Soul Fists or a full empowered Arthur Dagger Toss. As such, it's one of Dormammu's primary space control tools, and Dormammu being a space control character, this is a very important tool, and using it well is vital to success with the Lord of the Dark Dimension. Purification has significant block stun, only made worse if the opponent is using Advancing Guard, meaning it's not uncommon for an opponent to be forced to eat 2 or 3 in a row, or more if they're lacking on mobility and caught at super jump height. As you can see, Pillar reaches all the way to the ceiling, and thus cannot be super jumped over like many other projectiles. While they're very powerful, you can't just mindlessly spam Pillars, as if your opponent dodges your Pillar, you've just handed them an easy kill on Dormammu given its long recovery. However, when used intelligently to control space, the Pillar is a vital part of Dormammu's kit and enables him to secure kills without ever touching the opponent once by simply accruing massive amount of chip damage and incidental hits. If the opponent is dashing at you in the air, a light Pillar into a ball is usually a good tool to make them stop. If they're hanging out in the corner and trying to run away, Heavy Pillar can make them regret that decision, especially if you catch them with multiples in a row. The main thing to be aware of with Pillars is that they will force you to be very conscious of your spacing compared to the opponent, having to make split-second judgment calls every time you land as to which strength the Pillar will actually hit. Practice, practice, practice. As discussed in the previous episode, Dormammu is one of the few characters in the game to have a teleport. What's more, his teleport is one of the strongest in the game, because it crosses the opponent up, even if they're backed into the corner. This means that a full-screen Dormammu still always has access to left-right mix-ups via the usage of medium teleport versus heavy teleport versus no teleport at all. You'll find your opponent blocking projectiles with their face on occasion, just because they're anticipating a cross-up teleport where none exists, and a Dark Matter teleport mix-up is one of Dormammu's best and most reliable combo starters. However, with 13 frames of startup and 17 frames of recovery, Mass Change is extremely punishable if used raw. Most characters' attacks can punish it on startup if put out at meaty, or even on reaction, and it's essentially a free Dormammu you've just handed them if you do it raw. Ideally, you want to cover yourself with Dark Matter, or even better, an assist. Like many other characters, Dormammu's teleports track to the opponent. This means he lacks the ability to teleport away from the opponent, and this inclines many to use his teleports exclusively as an offensive tool. However, he can teleport and then immediately air dash away, fly, and plink away to perform a quick escape in a tight situation. This doesn't use his super jump, so he can also call an assist to cover himself in this situation if need be. Finally, teleports can be chained together to perform multiple 50-50 mix-ups in a row, and this is especially powerful when combined with a slow-moving lingering assist, such as Spitfire, Molecular Shield, or even a Stalking Flare. As a little bonus, remember that although Dormammu's teleports all place him in the air, he does have a way to teleport directly to the ground if airborne, with quarter circle back and H. If used in the air, this will instantly place Dormammu on the ground, where it can then be cancelled into X Factor or a Hyper if required to ensure your safety. This can actually be used to bypass anti-air attacks and punish the opponent for the resulting whiff, as well as to simply change up your momentum and throw off a pursuer. What's more, if you have any spells charged, those will also be activated, and this can often swing the game in your favor. We'll return to spells in just a moment, but first let's discuss Dormammu's flight mode. There are two big things to note about Dormammu's flight mode. The first is that it gives him an infinite number of air actions which he may perform in the air, which is what enables him to plink. It also removes the normal penalty on his specials, where they don't recover until he hits the ground unless he's flying. This allows him to do incredibly powerful chains, like this one, using Dark Hole in a combo, and also allows him to collect multiple spells if he's flying in the air. The second big thing to note about Dormammu's flight mode is that it has 0 frames of recovery on unfly, meaning it can't be punished even with a random team super. This is an incredibly powerful tool that allows Dormammu to make himself safe if flying in the air if someone attempts to punish him. Last, and far from least, Dormammu's quarter circle back yields Dark Spells, or Liberation, probably his most powerful and most difficult to use special moves. Dark Spells work by collecting and then spending spell charges, which can be collected with quarter circle back and either light or medium. Quarter circle back and light yields red spells, quarter circle back and medium yields blue spells, quarter circle back and heavy releases spells. When he's accrued a spell charge, Dormammu's hands will glow the appropriate color, and the fire on his head will grow larger, up to the maximum of 3 stored charges. Quarter circle back and heavy, or Liberation, will perform a small low hit stun explosion of limited usefulness if Dormammu has 0 spell charges. If he has at least 1 spell charge of any kind, Liberation will change into a unique special move determined by the exact number and variety of spells collected. 1 blue charge will yield a single large spike, which deals about 100,000 damage before scaling. It has no properties other than knocking the opponent up into the air, where it can then be followed up on with relative ease in the corner. It has 5 points of durability, but it's extremely niche, seeing some limited use in combos given its soft knockdown. Generally, however, the best move with 1 blue spell charge is to hold it down for higher return down the road. Finally, despite its appearance, 1 blue does not OTG. 2 blue charges yields an enhanced version of 1 blue. Dormammu creates 3 large spikes which erupt in succession, covering about 2/3 of the screen beginning immediately in front of him. This is incredibly niche, but he can sometimes juggle opponents in this manner into a hyper like Chaotic Flame or even Stalking Flare. However, outside of combo videos, you're not going to find yourself using 2 blue charges. The optimal move with 2 blue charges stored is always to store 1 red charge, and then you have access to mediums. By far the least return on investment for any of Dormammu's spell attacks is his 3 blue variant, which will carpet the entire stage in dark magic that has a low hitting hitbox and only hits grounded opponents, though it does not hit OTG. On block, nothing happens and you wasted your spell charges. On hit, the opponent is glued to the ground and prevented from jumping for 300 frames. While debuffed in this way, the opponent also cannot fly or teleport into the air, but other moves which leave the opponent airborne, like dragon punches or wall clings, do still take effect. While in theory this can create crazy mix-up situations or force the opponent to eat a level 3 without being able to jump over it, it is, simply put, a gimmick compared to the extreme usefulness of his other 3 charge varieties. Unlike his blue spells, red spells are useful in combos and in neutral at any level of charge. 1 red charge yields a small explosion, which has good range, knocks the opponent into the air on hit, and has a soft knockdown. While it knocks the opponent too far back to combo mid-screen, it can be quite useful as an extender in the corner. With 5 points of durability but much quicker recovery, it is in many ways a superior version of 1 blue. 2 red spells yield a significantly larger explosion, which covers nearly half the screen and knocks the opponent full screen on hit. It deals more damage and has higher hit stun, but the same recovery as 1 red, making it just as easy or easier to combo into, though it does scale the resulting combo slightly more severely. It has enough projectile durability to eat a Soul Fist and still come out, but if you're trying to eat Soul Fists, just do it with a medium. Honestly, if you have 2 red spells, usually your best option is to charge the 3rd spell, whether 1 red, 1 blue, or another red, because these are both extremely powerful tools in Dormammu's arsenal. When Dormammu has accrued 3 red spells, he may release them to generate an explosion that fills the screen, dealing 200,000 damage before scaling, and hitting OTG in addition to yielding a soft knockdown. In many ways, it's a meterless version of Arthur's level 3. 3 red is one of Dormammu's best tools. He can link afterward with Dark Hole, or Purification from any distance, as well as being able to follow up with a simple stand medium or S in the corner. Three red spells can delete an opposing assist character, or secure a kill off a knockdown. 3 red spells can delete an opposing assist, or secure a kill off a knockdown, or simply clear the screen of opposing projectiles and force the opponent into block stun. But it can be dodged with a well-timed super jump, potentially opening you up to being punished during the 16 frame recovery, so be careful not to waste it. Unlike the rest of his 3 spell varieties, the explosion has 15 frames of startup, and if Dormammu is touched during those frames, it'll get snuffed, losing you your charges and giving you no benefit in return. As a result, it's most commonly used as a late hit stun extension or a full screen snipe, and it's extremely useful for both of these purposes. By far and away the most useful of Dormammu's 2 charge variants is 1 red and 1 blue, which yields the smaller variant of the Meteor Shower. Dormammu can call forward about 15 meteors, which rain from the sky directly in front of him at about half screen distance. Each meteor can hit OTG, and each one causes a hard knockdown if it hits a non-grounded opponent. Meteor Shower has just 10 frames of startup, but it can take an additional 10 to 15 frames for the meteors to actually fall from the sky onto the screen, and in this lag time the opponent will sometimes super jump or air dash directly up into them. It's a useful tool to catch someone hanging out at super jump height or jumping in at you, and it makes for an easy confirm into Purification, into Flame Carpet, or even into level 3. 1 red, 1 blue is commonly used to link after a Stalking Flare, late in combos, when the opponent is high up into the air, as this hard knockdown can carry them all the way back to the ground for further extensions. While it's not as strong as either of the 3 charge mix varieties, not least due to the fact that like 3 red it can be snuffed on startup, it's still an incredibly useful tool which you will find yourself using on occasion. 2 blue charges and 1 red charge, when released, yield the Empowered Meteor Shower, one of the most valuable and powerful special moves in the entire game. Similar to 1 red, 1 blue, but superior in every way, Dormammu calls forward a gigantic shower of meteors that then spread out semi-randomly over 2/3 of the screen immediately in front of him. Each hit of the meteors will hard knock down against a non-grounded opponent, and they all hit OTG as well. The shower lasts long enough that it gives Dormammu ample time to follow up with a combo, to use it to cover a tri-dash mix-up, or even to hard tag out. By combining the block stun of the meteors with the block stun from an assist, Dormammu can successfully create 3 charges once again immediately after releasing them, with the benefit in the meantime of half a meter gained, and hundreds of thousands of points of damage in either direct hit or chip. Importantly, once the input is put out, meteors will come out. Even if Dormammu is actively getting comboed, meteors will still come out. This can and will bail you out of dicey situations, as well as being useful because Dormammu can plink the input, yielding to a simultaneous cast of meteors and Stalking Flare, which combined are almost impossible to punish and can force your opponent to eat all the resulting chip or direct damage. Finally, on block and especially on hit, just to emphasize, Empowered Meteors generates a truly ludicrous amount of meter for Dormammu, up to a full meter if you snag an assist with it, in addition to the point. Finally, we come to 2 red, 1 blue, Inferno. Inferno is arguably the most powerful and most important of Dormammu's spell abilities, as it functions as a meterless instant reversal that will come out even if Dormammu is hit on the same frame as you input the motion. Every hit of this attack can OTG, both on the way up and on the way down, and like meteors, it also causes a hard knockdown against an aerial opponent. It also builds a tremendous amount of meter for Dormammu. Like Empowered Meteors, Inferno can be plinked so it comes out with a Stalking Flare. This can allow Dormammu to self-OTG in high hit stun situations, or to delete a troublesome character in a situation where Flame Carpet into an assist might pop out, or scrambly situations where a zero-frame move might be required, like if the opponent is jumping in at you. The importance of using 2 red 1 blue and 2 blue 1 red frequently and placing them well can't be overstated in playing Dormammu. They build a tremendous amount of meter on hit or on block, make various maneuvers safe that otherwise would not be, and are specifically designed to cover for Dormammu's various weaknesses, such as functioning to cover him against people jumping in at him, or serving as a reversal or screen flare, or giving him an easy avenue to tag out. Also, they're just fun and enable a lot of wacky shit, like look at this. Dormammu's grounded throw is just okay. He eats the opponent a decent distance away and leaves them in a hard knockdown. This means that Dormammu can combo off his grounded throw, front or back, but only in limited ways, such as with Flame Carpet into an assist in the corner, or if mid-screen, with Inferno, or an immediate purification into Hyper. Dormammu's air throw, meanwhile, is one of the best in the game. Like his grounded throw, he eats the opponent a good distance away, and then can follow up with an OTG of his choice. However, with proper timing and if above the minimum height to air dash, Dormammu can air dash down forward, then immediately re-jump and catch the opponent with a jump light to confirm into a full combo. In the corner, Dormammu doesn't even have to work that hard, and he can follow up on his own using the stand medium or S, among others. But with proper help, he can also do an immediate air dash down and then hard tag in a teammate, leading to an unscaled combo that's much more likely to net a kill. With these easy confirms off front or back throw, Dormammu's throw game is one of the best in Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom 3. Given Dormammu's role in a team and his complete lack of reversals, it's a rare situation in which it's advised to hard tag him in. With that said, he can't easily combo off his hard tag from most positions on the screen using a light into medium into S. Hard tags hit overhead and cause a soft knockdown, meaning that you will sometimes catch the opponent slipping. However, it's not worth the risk and will cost you your Dormammu in the process. In fact, if you're going to use hard tags with Dormammu, the usual route is to hard tag him out during the opponent's combo or when he's facing pressure to try to catch them and get your faster point character back in. Dormammu's fastest button by a mile is his snapback, which shares a hitbox with his stand heavy but comes out in just 2 frames. Snapback is probably his 3rd best option for a reversal if he has meter but doesn't have access to either Inferno or 3 meters for Dark Dimension. In addition to its basic utility of throwing the opponent's team out of order and forcing them to eat an incoming from a character who's an expert at delivering them. Remember that 1 meter spent is better than a dead Dormammu every time. Speaking of spending meter, Dormammu has 3 hyper combos, 2 level 1 hyper combos which serve as some of the best space control tools in the game, and a level 3 hyper which serves as an invaluable, if expensive, invincible reversal, as well as a reliable OTG finisher at high hit stun. Chaotic Flame, performed with quarter circle forward and 2 attacks, is a full screen beam hyper which does astronomical damage and has one of the best hitboxes of any hyper combo in the game. It can hit both the point character and their assist, and it's extremely useful for this purpose for deleting an assist character if the opponent leaves them uncovered. It can be used as a combo finisher, a powerful DHC option to secure a kill off a single hit from your point, or even as a combo starter from full screen if combined with an X Factor cancel into a Dark Matter and a teleport. Chaotic Flame is extremely punishable on whiff or on block, so you don't want to throw it out in situations where the opponent can super jump out to avoid it. However, if you lock them down with a pillar or a dark hole, Chaotic Flame can deal huge amounts of damage on hit, or even if blocked, leading to one of Dormammu's primary strategies of indirect damage. This is a huge part of Dormammu's comeback and cleanup strategy. Chaotic Flame can be followed up on in the corner, using a stand light or a stand medium, and you can then immediately link a pillar, and this, even if it's blocked, adds another like 50,000-60,000 damage to your Chaotic Flame. This kills a surprising amount of the time, especially if you catch the opponent teching forward or pressing a button. Chaotic Flame controls the lateral space in a way that very few hyper combos in the game do. With its relatively short startup, just 8 frames before the flash and 3 frames after, it's the ultimate stop doing things button. If Dormammu has meter and space, he may sometimes just throw one out to hopefully catch the opponent throwing something out. A strategy that's especially powerful if backed up with a strong, lingering assist like hidden missiles. All in all, Chaotic Flame is an exceptional hyper combo and one of the best uses of a single meter in the entire game. The strength of Chaotic Flame is equaled by the unique utility of Stalking Flare, Dormammu's quarter circle back and 2-attack hyper combo. Much slower on startup than Chaotic Flame at 31 frames before the flash and 4 frames after, it creates a huge, tracking, slow-moving ball of flame which will stay on the screen forever, until it either hits or is blocked 20 times, or if Dormammu is hit or forced to take a grab, in which case it will disappear immediately. Stalking Flare lasts for so long and has such strong block stun that it can even be used to cover Dormammu as he collects spells, hard tags out, or burns another meter to summon yet another Stalking Flare, as there's no limit to how many can be on the screen at once. Stalking Flare can be followed up on in the corner using the small meteors, big meteors, or even with an S if the opponent is placed into a knock-up state earlier in the combo. However, most of the time, Stalking Flare is a combo ender, which is used to reset the game and give Dormammu space and time to act and regain control of neutral. Stalking Flare, together with Flame Carpet, is Dormammu's primary set play tool. Normally, an incoming opponent has an untouchable state where they can't be grabbed until they hit the ground. However, this state ends early if they act, press a button, or if they block an attack. This means you can grab an incoming opponent the moment that the block stun from Stalking Flare ends. However, if they advance in guard, Dormammu will be pushed away. This means you'll often see people tag in their other characters after putting up a Stalking Flare in an attempt to punish this. The advancing guard will push away Dormammu, who is no longer on the screen, leaving your point character able to advance and grab them easily. Dark Dimension, performed with Dragon Punch and 2 attacks, is Dormammu's level 3 hyper combo, as well as being his primary reversal if he has meter but does not have proper spells stopped. It deals an astonishing amount of unscaled damage, and hits OTG or against grounded characters only. This frame data is deceptive, as Dark Dimension has an animation, and that animation has travel time. Dark Dimension doesn't hit until the animation touches the opponent, and if they're full screen, this adds significant time after the flash, during which time they can react by blocking or jumping. Dark Dimension is extremely punishable on block or whiff, with 72 frames of recovery over a full second. However, it is invulnerable for the first half of that, 36 frames. This is what gives it its property as a reversal. It, like Chaotic Flame, is plus enough on hit that it allows for creative follow-ups. Dormammu can release spells, follow up with Flame Carpet and an assist, OTG with a pillar, or even, if hit stun permits, hard tag to someone with a quick OTG like Doom, and continue the combo with reduced scaling. Note that because opponents bounce when they hit the ground in this game, this hyper will sometimes whiff if you output it immediately after a knockdown. For this reason, as well as because it's always better to have a spell than to not, it's optimal to collect one spell charge immediately before outputting level 3 in all situations. You also have time to gather another charge after the hyper, and then release, meaning if you go into the combo with one charge already, you can have access to 2 red, 1 blue, or 3 red as a follow-up. All this combines to make Dark Dimension a very powerful tool in Dormammu's arsenal, and like his other hypers, learning to use it well is part of what defines a well-rounded Dormammu. In conclusion, Dormammu is a relatively slow character, with most of his normal and special moves having significant startup compared to other, faster members of the cast. However, his space control tools are among the best in the game, and he can define any game he's part of if he's played well. Additionally, many of his normal and special moves pack unique utility, such as projectile nullification, strong chip damage, or heavy hit and block stun, which together with gigantic hit spheres, make it so Dormammu has a button to control any position on the screen which he desires to. Playing Dormammu well is a matter of using these buttons to anticipate and frustrate the opponent's approaches and force them to overextend, at which point you can use Dormammu's surprising speed and powerful mix-up game to punish them. Dormammu spends meter and X Factor better than almost any character in the game. Stalking Flare and Chaotic Flame are 2 of the most meter-efficient hypers out there in terms of return on investment, and Dark Dimension secures kills at high hit stun where Pillar into Chaotic Flame would cause the opponent to drop out. Dormammu has some of the best indirect damage in the entire game as well, with the ability to kill multiple characters just from chip if he already has meter and X factor and the opponent has spent their own X. We'll discuss this more in the next episode, but for now, this has been an overview of Dormammu's normals, specials, and hypers. If you've watched this whole thing, thank you very much, I really appreciate it. My name is Tangrowth, thank you for watching, and happy Marvel!
Power of the creator. First attack!